Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Authorities are investigating a two-vehicle crash in Beadle County that left one man dead Monday morning.
According to a release from the Department of Public Safety, a car was traveling northbound and failed to yield at a stop sign before entering the intersection. A semi traveling eastbound crashed into the car, sending it into the ditch.
The driver of the car died from his injuries. The driver of the semi was not injured. The crash left the eastbound lanes of US 14 closed for about 5 hours.
Sioux Falls Fire Rescue responded to a house fire just before 8 o'clock Monday night.
It was reported near 39th Street and Terry Avenue. The fire took about 10 minutes to extinguish.
No one was hurt. However, one resident is temporarily displaced.
A forum planned for this morning will look at the impacts of having a prison in Sioux Falls.
The forum comes 2 weeks after a task force recommended spending up to $650 million on a new 1,500-bed men's prison in Sioux Falls.
Task force member and state representative Greg Jamieson is organizing the event. It'll give law enforcement and local leaders a chance to share the impact of the prison.
It isn't about, we don't want a prison here. We're kind of past that. It's really about, how do we make this the best?
The public will also have the chance to weigh in. The forum begins at 10 in the Belvis Theater at the Washington Pavilion.
Jamieson hopes the feedback will be considered by the state legislature at a special session in September.
Well, now let's get a check of this morning's weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Summer. Good morning, everybody. Weather today looking hot, humid, and a few more scattered thunderstorms. We'll be tracking the best chances of new storms in northern and portions of western South Dakota. A lot of heat there. Sioux Falls 92 today, 94 Mitchell, mid to upper 90s in Pierre. And, of course, a heat advisory is in effect for much of central and eastern KELOLAND. Coming up, we're going to take a closer look at the heat. We're going to also be evaluating more severe weather potential. That and more in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Brian. The Mapleton Golf Club is scheduled to open on September 1st and will have more than just a golf course.
The clubhouse will feature a restaurant and golf shop that'll be finished by opening day. The lodge will have 12 king suites and a golf simulator and is scheduled for early 2026.
If you think about Mapleton from a complete perspective, the ability to stay on property, eat on property, play golf, and do it in several different facets is a really unique opportunity and something that you're certainly going to want to see when a member invites you out to come play Mapleton.
More information about tours and memberships is linked under this story on KELOLAND.com.
There's going to be a big fishing tournament this weekend in northern Minnesota that honors our nation's heroes.
It's called Warriors and Walleyes, and it takes place at Lake of the Woods. The organizer brings in veterans from all across the country to fish.
Just to give it back to the veterans, just have some fun with them and let them be themselves out on the water.
Peterson says he started the fishing tournament 10 years ago as a way to honor his childhood friend, Stephen Benslin of Wood Lake, Minnesota, who was the first Minnesotan killed during Operation Desert Storm in 1991.
18 Marines who were with him when he died will be there to fish this weekend. They haven't seen each other since 1992 when they got out of the military.
Cherry Rock Farms in Brandon is hosting a field day tomorrow.
The family farm, which is celebrating its 100th anniversary this summer, is offering walking tours to farmers, gardeners, or anyone who's interested. The farm is also partnering with SDSU Extension on the event.
Each year they put on some events where they highlight local farms, local partners doing various horticulture things in the community, and so we're super excited to partner with them this year just to showcase our farm, showcase our high tunnels and our fields, really show local folks what we do out here and what regenerative farming really means.
The field day is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow at Cherry Rock Farms, south of Brandon.
The event is free, but you're asked to register in advance. We've provided a link under this story on KELOLAND.com.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get another check of your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, we'll be tracking some thunderstorms, and of course with that, the potential for some more severe weather. We had several segments that rumbled across the north last night. We had actually some flash flooding and some aerial flooding in a couple of spots northwest of Gettysburg, so this pocket south of Mobridge, and also to the west out into parts of Perkins County. Now, again, the risk map is kind of a broad one here. About the northern half of South Dakota is under the slight risk. The southern half is under the marginal risk, and so that's how that pans out. I would kind of focus more so tonight on some of that, but let's check back in on midday in Ketherland to see if anything pops up a little faster on that timeline. Tomorrow, the risk is farther south and farther east. Now, that includes areas of northeast Nebraska all the way up toward the Twin Cities. So, again, a broken line of some really intense thunderstorms as a cold front begins to barrel to the south. Ahead of that front today, we get to deal with all this heat, don't we? And that's a heat advisory in the orange that covers a big chunk of central and eastern South Dakota, western Minnesota, northwest Iowa. So stay cool the best you can with these 90s in the forecast. Now, on the maps, you can see this afternoon a couple of takeaways. South winds ahead of the front, 15 to 30. That includes Sioux Falls and Mitchell. Notice where your low pressure center is. See where the winds kind of tie up here west of Pierre. So that's an area of low pressure, and that's kind of significant because ahead of the low, when we drape the lines here north of Pierre and getting up to Aberdeen, there is a potential there for a couple of big storms to fire up. It's not a guarantee that those would develop during the peak heating of the day, but if that becomes more likely in the next 6 hours, you'll hear about that. Now, setting that scenario aside, there's also a potential here for more thunderstorms overnight tonight. So that's a late night picture here. We've had this now 2 nights in a row, so if we get a third night, I wouldn't be too surprised at that in that northern half of South Dakota. Now, the southern areas will kind of refocus and see what starts popping up on radar tomorrow afternoon. And again, that could feature some severe weather easily entangled within that front. So be watching the forecast there. Everybody gets a break on the heat as we slide into Thursday, and there could be a few more thunderstorms in our region on Thursday. They look more significant to our south, but we'll continue to keep at least some of you in a 30% chance of rain on Thursday. Hot today, mid to upper 90s. Mitchell, Huron to Pierre, Sioux Falls at 92. That extended forecast, we up the rain chance at Sioux Falls tomorrow to 60%. It reduces to 30% on Thursday, and there could be a few more scattered thunderstorms on Friday. Note that Thursday, Friday are cooler relative to what's coming this weekend. I think we could easily crank up the heat and humidity again throughout much of Ketherland. And of course, as that happens, we can't ignore the chance of another thunderstorm in the forecast. You know, just based on what we're looking at on day 6, that's Aberdeen on Sunday, 92. There's already some hints of some really strong thunderstorms in parts of the plains again early next week. So that's a story we'll kind of visit about tomorrow and the days to come, but just kind of keep that in mind. And look how hot it gets in Pierre again. After close to 100 today, it's back to the mid to upper 90s this weekend. So enjoy your break tomorrow and Thursday. Rapid City also will see reduced temperatures Wednesday and Thursday, along with some more scattered thunderstorms, which will come into the forecast. Check out the latest details online at KELOLAND.com.